Hello guys, welcome to ZooView. This is going to be our Father's Day special. So my name is Peter. I'm the educational coordinator here at the zoo, one of the general zookeepers, and your ZooView host. So if this is one of your many times returning, thank you for joining us. If this might be your first time, welcome. Any dads out there, this is Father's Day weekend, so thank you for all that you do for your families, for your work, and for your community. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today, is going to be our fathers out there in the world. There are many dads out in the animal kingdom that do a really good job. One of them is going to be the red fox. And that red fox, those dads will actually bring food for those cubs for about the first 3 months of life. Now, that might not seem long to you, but after that, they actually do stop giving them food, which is kind of crazy. You might think, why are they going to stop cold turkey with only 3 months of age? But dads do a really good job at teaching them how to hunt and find food. So they don't just cold turkey them. Red fox will actually hide food around the den and in close by holes and things like that. So those cubs actually have to learn to use their sense of smell, their sense of sight, how to find food. So they're teaching, and red fox dads always like to roughhouse with those cubs. We also have our Mr. Moms, as I like to call them. Those will be like our emperor penguins as well as our seahorses. So seahorse dads will actually give birth. So female seahorses will actually put their eggs into the male seahorse's pouch, kind of like how kangaroos and possums have pouches. Seahorses have pouches as well. So female seahorses will put those eggs into that male's pouch, where that male will then fertilize those eggs, and then he will incubate them for about 45 days, and then the male will actually give birth. And then we do have our male emperor penguins. So females will lay that egg, and then males will actually sit on that nest and that egg for about 2 months while the female goes off and hunts and finds food, while that male will sit on that nest, and they do not move at all. They come from the Antarctic, where it is very cold, and if they move off that egg for anything longer than just a few minutes to moments, that egg will freeze and die. So they sit in the same spot. They go weeks and weeks without eating, even those 2 whole months without eating. They use all that fat storage to really incubate and warm up that egg until mom returns. Then we also have what I call the stay-at-home dads, and we have 2 of them here at the park actually. One of them is going to be our marmosets. So many marmosets will give birth. The female will give birth, and then those babies will actually go and hang out on dad. Marmosets are very small monkeys. We have a pair in our reptile building, and dads will actually carry the babies, because those babies, typically they'll have twins, can be almost 25% of that mom's body weight. So it's a heavy load to give birth to them. So dad takes responsibility to carry them 24/7 for almost 2 months, and then they'll only go back to mom to feed off of her milk, but dad will carry them the whole time. And then our last animal, our last kind of special dad here at the park, is going to be our rheas. And that's kind of what we started filming today. And we do have 2 dads sitting down here. And rheas are going to be the 4th largest flightless bird in the world. So they are in the rat-type family. So those would be the same things as our ostriches, which are number 1. Cassowaries, which are emus that are number 2. Cassowaries are number 3. And these guys are rheas, which are number 4. So they are the 4th largest flightless bird in the world in the rat-type family. Our rheas can actually stand about 5 feet tall, and they move very fast. They can move 30, almost 35 miles an hour. Now these guys come from South America, and we do have a lot of rheas out here in the safari field. So that's where we are located right now. We're out here in the safari field. And we do have very special rheas. And these 2 males right here are very special rheas. These guys are leucistic. So when we first started this video, you might have seen some of those rheas walking up. They're that more grayish overall color. They kind of have a little black spot in their neck. That's their natural color. These rhea here that you see laying down or sitting down here, they're leucistic rhea, which means they have a little bit of melanin to them, but they lack a lot of it. So melanin is what gives skin pigment its color. So an albino animal will have zero melanin. They'll have that kind of reddish pink eye. These leucistic animals, like these rhea here, will actually have a bluish or a gray eye. So we do have a couple of our rhea here that are leucistic. We do have some elk out here in the safari that is leucistic, but it's a really, really special kind of gene. Now, these two guys sitting down are our male rhea. And I know that they're the male rhea because this is Father's Day and this is who we want to showcase today. And that's because they are sitting on a nest. So females will lay 15 to about 20 to 25 eggs in a nest that the male will make. And that's it. Those ladies are done. All they do is they lay those eggs and they go off to wander about. Males will actually sit on that nest as you see here. And they're sitting on eggs this size. So this is an actual rhea egg hollowed out. This is equivalent to about a dozen chicken eggs. So that's, we always like to say out here on our tours, that's one very large omelet. But these are a delicacy in South America. But that male right there can be sitting on anywhere from 15 to 20, 25 eggs of this size. It's quite large, like I said. So these two males are on nests right now, and they will incubate them for about 40-ish, 45 days. And then once these little babies hatch out, dads will actually come together in what I like to call a daddy daycare. And males will help each other come together with little babies to help protect them from any predators or anything like that out in the wild. When they're super small and young, any heavy rainy days, the babies will actually hide underneath their feathers to stay warm. And that's kind of what you're seeing right here. You know, these guys are imprinted into the ground. It almost looks like you took a rhea and kind of squished it down. Those feathers are creating insulation in that nest for them. So there's no moisture that can get in there. No cold air or wind drafts can get underneath those feathers to those eggs. They do a very good job at insulating that nest for them. So that's always one of the big ways you can tell if you guys do come out to our safari field. Is a male sitting on a nest or not, or is it just a rhea laying down? If they look like they're squished into the ground, kind of like this here, there's a good chance that they're sitting on the nest. If they're kind of rounded, more dome-shaped, they're probably just sitting down, not on a nest. So those are kind of the big things. Now, these guys, like I said, that daddy daycare, they'll look after them. And rheas grow very fast. So they'll look after them for about 7 months. And about at that year time, they'll actually be almost full size. Like I said, about 5 feet tall. And that's when they kind of go off on their own. So if you see, it looks like this male just got up to stretch, which is kind of nice for you guys to see those eggs underneath, which is really, really nice. Good film right there. So these guys will not move a lot either. They'll get up, stretch. They'll only eat grasses, seeds, and little insects right around their nest. Just like that male just did. They kind of just got up, stretched his legs, and they go right back down. So they don't do a lot of moving as well. But they do eat a lot of the things around them. Now, what we do here at the park for these rhea, though, is we do give them a little bit of supplements. So we do drop grain and corn around for as well as the other animals. But these guys do get a special game bird pellet as well as another high protein food just to make sure they do match a lot of their natural diet out in the wild. They do eat a lot of insects and seeds, a lot of high protein. So we want to make sure we give them enough of that nutrition. As you see this male right here, he's doing a really, really good job. And make sure all those eggs are kept up tight. They're all in proper order. The nest is perfect. Just like how a lot of you fathers will look after your kids. Make sure if you have more than one kid, make sure they're all in line. They're not acting out. They're all nice and warm and fed. And he goes right back down to sit on top of them. Now these guys, once they do hatch, they do have free range around the park. So if you do come here for our safari drive-through, self-drive-through, I just like to warn everyone, just be very careful in the next coming months, because you will have very small little rheas running around, only about 6 inches tall. So it might be very hard to see as they kind of cut through the tall grass. So just be very careful if you do come out this summer for our self-drive-through, to just be wary of your surroundings, especially because there might be a lot, and I mean a lot of little ones. If every male lays, 15 to 20 eggs, we do have a lot of babies around, and a lot of these bigger daddy daycares that we do tend to look after. Now we do have some zookeepers that come out in the field that do checks on these eggs to make sure that they are incubated, they are warm, make sure there are none that are infertile that can rot underneath dad. So every day, every other day, we do have a couple zookeepers that do come out here just to check on the nest, just to make sure that everything is doing well for them, to make sure we promote that all the good eggs can survive. So that's kind of what I have for you guys for our little Father's Day special here in our RIA. I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you guys have any questions about the RIAs or any other dads out there in the animal kingdom.
Peter, Audrey wants to know, how long have these been sitting on their eggs?
These guys, I don't know the exact number. I'm very sorry. I'm not one of the guys that look out here. But they are within the, I believe, 2-ish weeks, though.
Do the rheas become aggressive at the park?
Males do become very protective. So, as I said, they stand about 5 feet tall, and they do have a very long wingspan. Now, they don't fly, but those long wings actually do help them kind of stay balanced when they run really fast. They also help to intimidate things that come by, so they puff out. So if I would get down there, especially this one closest to us as we pulled up, he got really excited to protect this nest. He stood up, he spread out those wings, and they try to intimidate. So the rhea are really nice out here, but don't mess with dads, because dads will definitely put up a fight with you if you get anywhere too close to their nest.
Can you tell males from females in rheas?
So when they're small, you can sex them. Everything is internal, so you can go inside and feel around. As they get large, it's a little hard to feel and see, because you're not gonna be able to get too close to them and get a bird upside down. How big they are, weighing about 75 pounds. But you'll always be able to tell who's a male or female depending on who's sitting on the nest. So a lot of times males will be, like I said, they're the only ones that sit on the nest. So especially around this time of year, you'll be able to see male to females.
Jack, age 6, wants to know if there are predators they need to be safe from.
Good question, Jack. So coming from South America, they're a pretty big bird. There's not too many things that can get them. There are some larger and different types of breeds of cats, kind of like in the leopard family, as well as different subspecies of pumas. So that is one of them. When they're smaller, though, any sort of opportunistic feeder, anything in the kind of bigger weasel family, so martins and fusas, things like that, might be able to get one of those smaller chicks.
Gwen would like to know, what do we do with the babies? Do we keep all of them?
Good question. So we do keep a lot of them here, just to make sure our populations stay up and healthy. But we do sell a lot of them to different zoos and facilities, just to make sure we don't overpopulate and our gene pool does stay healthy. So a lot of times we will keep some of our younger ones and get rid of some of the older ones, just to make sure everything stays viable and healthy. But we do give a lot and trade a lot with other zoos and other facilities all across the country.
Are other father figures out there in the world? Any other father figures in the world?
Yeah, there are many other ones. A lot of times people don't realize that amphibians are a really good father figure. There are many toads and frogs that dads will either carry them in their tadpoles in their mouth, They will actually hold eggs underneath their skin in little pockets. There's special frogs and toads that have kind of pockets where they could fit those babies and those tadpoles or eggs inside of their skin to keep them protected from predators, because as a little egg you could be eaten by many different things. So there are those frogs and toads. There's many fish that dads will actually look after the young and kind of keep them all together. So there are a lot of different other father figures out there in the world that do a really good job at looking after their young. So as we kind of close up here, you guys have a last question or two, feel free to put them in. But I have some really good news and some really bad news. So really bad news, unfortunately this will be our last ZooView. Unfortunately our museum is kind of under construction. There's other things going on inside the museum, so we will not be doing one this Friday on kind of the history of the park. So unfortunately this is our last ZooView. Thank you for everyone who is our top viewer, who've came out, who've helped spread the word, who was able to join in once, twice, as many times as you guys been. I really appreciate doing it. I love all the comments and seeing all the people that join in. That's the bad news. And good news though, if you look around, we do have our drive-through safari that is going on right now. We have guests right over there, guests coming up the hill. So we do have our self drive-through safari, which is a great experience for you guys, so you guys can see our big safari field. We also have our walk-through zoo that is open for you guys as well. And then greater news, we have opening up Monday the 22nd, we will have our reptile building open. With that, we do have some restrictions because it is a building, we are on private property. We will be requiring masks to be worn inside, and we will have a capacity inside. So we will be having masks here at the park to sell if you guys don't have masks. I understand there are some other issues going on with different sort of health, which will be addressed, but for many of the people though, a mask will have to be worn inside that reptile building with a capacity of 25 people. But the reptile building will be open, which means most of the zoo, 90% of the zoo is open. So I really hope you guys have a chance to get out this year to see the park, because we really love to have you guys here. Any other last questions? No? All right, as always, conserve, protect, and change. You guys do have the power to change the future of our wildlife, our environment, and everything around you. So always do your best to think of the animals and plants around you. Don't litter. Do your best to conserve and get involved. That's the best thing to do, is get involved. So thank you guys for coming out. It's been my pleasure to show you all these videos. And one last time, happy Father's Day. Goodbye, Dad. And I hope everyone has a great weekend.